All right, we are in an undisclosed location setting up probably the sickest podcast studio we've seen. I got my man Steve here, and we're gonna show you kind of this ultimate video switching podcast setup that we were able to hook up. So the whole thing is wrapped around an ATEM Mini Pro ISO. We happen to have an extra ATEM Mini lying around, so we ended up using that as a sub switch to get more inputs in. Give you a quick tour. Obviously we have two monitors here. One is dedicated for a Multiview, the other one is dedicated for a Mac Mini on the back of this system. And by the way, the whole system is on wheels, so we can actually pull it out. It's portable, and it has a harness attached. Keyboard and mouse, we have a Stream Deck running companion, and we have a GoPro and a mic for Steve when he's here so he can be part of the podcast as well. So we actually have a multi-camera setup here for the podcast, and then we have Steve's camera, which is the GoPro. And what we did is, to be able to add some extra functionality, we routed an HDMI from the ATEM Mini into this ATEM Mini here, and then we can use it as a sub switch.
Any camera can go into this preview camera 4, right?
Currently, just the two sources we have plugged in, the Mac Mini and the GoPro.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Other things in this Multiview besides the three cameras and the ATEM Mini is we have our audio.
Sound.
Yep, our sound levels there. That is actually plugged directly into a Rodecaster Pro, which we'll talk about in a sec. We then have the record status. Currently on this T5, and by the way, if you get ATEM Minis, get a T5, not a T7. The T5s are the ones that work the best. What we currently have set up over here is the ATEM Software and companion. We have our recording set up to ISO record all inputs, which means we can record camera 1, 2, 3, and 4, plus the program switch feed, which will really help when you want to post edit this. You'll see all of your cuts and can adjust them.
Okay.
We've set up 2 macros so far. We'll probably program a couple more. And the key that we've set up for you is to be able to do a side-by-side.
Okay.
So currently we have this shot in program.
I got you.
And we've set up a picture-in-picture button here, and then if we click tie key, you see how it brings in a different one there?
Yeah.
Well, we want to make sure that we're going to bring this in on top of this image.
Gotcha.
So in order to do that, we're going to swap the background layer.
Okay.
And because when you click any of these buttons, it's going to put it into preview. We want that background layer, which happens to be camera 3.
Okay.
So all we're going to do is click camera 3, and now we have our side-by-side shot. Cut is going to be a hard switch. Go ahead and click it. Yep, boom, right in there. If we want to tie that key again, we can. It's tied. Go ahead and hit fade again. And now you can see.
It's like a transition, in other words.
Exactly, yeah. And we can change what transition it's doing. We have a mix, dip, wipe. We can even do a DVE transition. Again, not going to go through the ATEM software in this video. We're going to go through that offline. But that's the setup here. And then we also routed this mic into mic 1, so that when you're talking on here, you can turn your mic on and off individually.
And that would be right here.
That would be right there. So that would be your personal mic.
So what is this? So this, if I had a mic 2.
If you had a mic 2, if you had another mic.
Okay.
And then the Rodecaster Pro, which we'll walk over there in a sec, it's actually plugged into camera 1. So that way it's being brought over via an HDMI cable. We didn't have to run separate cables just to get the podcast audio in. One thing I do want to touch on is our little rack, not really a rack, really laptop stand setup here. We were able to route all of these cables into our main ATEM Mini Pro ISO by elevating this one here. All the cables went underneath, kept it really clean, and we just used what was around the house here. You know, do you have something we can elevate this with? We found a couple boxes, a couple little pieces of Velcro, and we're rolling. Let's go check the podcast setup sitting in the other side of the room. We got the Action by Action podcast setup behind me here, and we're using 3 Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, 1, 2, and 3, to capture 3 different angles all of which are HDMI into the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro ISO. This allows us to have camera control so we can color match all the cameras from that switcher station you saw earlier. So this is a really awesome setup. We put some lighting in here as well. We have the 3 mics as well as a Rodecaster Pro. And if we need to add another mic, if we want to add some more people, we can simply change the chairs around, add a mic in, and still be able to capture everyone. So a really flexible setup here. Again, really happy with it. And I think now we're going to shoot a podcast. Hope you liked it. Yeah, we can just put those cables. That's that. That's the whole setup.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
You ain't gotta go home.
Thank you guys. You guys killed it. This shit looks awesome.
That was good.
Right?
Good, yeah.
It was really good stuff.
Action by action. That's the podcast.
Action by
New
action.
setup. We're rolling.
We're good.
Recording.
Into
we
the
look
first
great.
episode, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
The official episode with all the new stuff, all the
Yeah.
new gear.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like all this stuff has finally come together in a nice,
Yep.
clean aesthetic. Good stuff. Thanks, guys.
No problem.
And